Hey, Big Brother fans, we've got some scoop about Angela Murray and the new low that she has sunk to, quite literally, and why she was begging some other house guest. We're going to show you this hilarious and shocking photo and what came next and why she was doing what she was doing. And I have to wonder if this incredible BB26 live feeds moment is going to make it onto one of the heavily edited CBS episodes. So it was a little after 1 a.m. Tuesday morning. There was a group of people talking upstairs by the fish tank. And at this point in the game, nobody could go outside because the backyard is closed. Looks like it's under construction. Everybody's wondering if they're putting up the wall comp because of all the lead time that they needed to build it. It is honestly about time that we had a really physical comp like that in BB26. I know we had the balance beam thing, but there hasn't been, to me, I don't think, a lot of physical stuff. So fingers crossed the house guests are right and we're getting the wall comp. But anyway, with the backyard closed, it was harder for the house guests to get into private spots to break off, to talk game, where usually they can slip into the storage room. That's fine. That's still available. But with everybody crowded in, there's a lot more traffic. You can't sneak off into a corner of the yard, go lay in the hammocks, go, talk in the pool. So we had the 5 Points Alliance minus Brooklyn upstairs talking by the fishies. And so just if you don't know who all that is, Tucker, Rubina, Kimo, and T-Kor. And so Angela has her HOH room right there. The door is right by the fish stuff. And she decided she needed to know what they were saying. And so that's when she got as low as she's ever gotten in this game. Not figuratively, this is not a metaphor, just literally. To better hear Tucker and the others talking, Angela got herself down flat on the floor, put her ear to the crack, and some people that had just switched over to the feeds and saw her on the floor were kind of wondering, what is happening? Is she okay? She was okay physically. Not sure about Angela's mental state at this point. What's funny is just looking at Angela on the floor, out of sight and eavesdropping, it immediately reminded me of Tony Vlahos, the cop who was a 2-time Survivor winner. If you had watched the season he did this, you would recall he would lurk and eavesdrop. He would build these little hide type of things like under bushes, under like sticks and palm fronds. It was just all these different things he did. And he would just lie completely still and listen. He called it his spy shack. And it was creepy, weird, very effective. He did win. So maybe Angela is a fan of his. We know she's a Big Brother super fan. Maybe she likes all the CBS reality shows. So the HOH was so desperate to hear what Kimo and Tucker and the others were saying that she's on the floor listening at the crack. But that is only where the desperation began, not where it ended. So after listening to T-Kor and the others talking, Angela figured out that these 4 are in some sort of alliance. So then Angela gets up off the floor, comes out and approaches them. Only Tucker seemed to be actually listening to her with interest, but the rest of them had to listen. So Angela starts begging and she's, please, I want to be part of this. She wants to be part of this thing the 4 of them have going on. Tucker's okay with it, but the others, I think it's a deer in the headlights thing when you get caught talking. And, Angela was actually like in tears and saying that she would be at the bottom of their alliance just as long as they let her in. Tucker's kind of sort of lobbying. They do need numbers, but there reportedly was even some talk about naming this potential alliance that Angela wants to be in so bad, like the School of Fishes or something. And then at one point, like Quinn comes upstairs and the discussion has to stop. But it was just insane. And later, T-Kor told Brooklyn about it and said that Angela had approached them and she said she was just being paranoid. What's funny about her right now as HOH is she's definitely a house target. Quinn said on the live feeds he wants Angela out before jury. He said if he's stuck in the jury house with her, he would have to, make it a break over the wall and run back to Oklahoma to avoid it. Quinn's not the only one hoping that Angela will be evicted pre-jury. Brooklyn and Kimo were discussing that they have to get her out in week 5 when she can't play for HOH, or else Angela will definitely be in jury, at least based on the assumptions of the house guest that jury is going to start with the week 6 evicted house guest. Aside from Angela full on begging Tucker and the others to let her in, just real quick, an update on this week's plans. Of course, right now we've got Mackenzie, Cedric, and Rubina on the block since Tucker pulled himself down. They're heading into the AI arena on Thursday's live eviction episode. As of now, it's kind of strange. Cedric is very concerned that if he's one of the final 2 left on the chopping block, he could legit go home. He's been checking in with people, kind of getting a barometer reading. Brooklyn, T-Kor, and Kimo don't want to vote to evict Cedric, but if he's sitting beside Rubina, T-Kor and Kimo are going to be torn because they're straddling alliances. And if it comes down to Cedric versus Rubina, they either have to show their cards or kind of betray the plans they've made and vote with the House. Them voting to evict Cedric would prove that the Pentagon, the sub-alliance from the collective, is really a thing and not just a rumor. And it would likely expose to Tucker that these 2 alliances, the collective and the Pentagon, do exist, and none of his allies told him. We all know how mad he was at Quinn, that he kept his secret power a secret. Tucker hates secret keepers. He hates when people don't tell him things, and this would definitely out T-Kor and Kimo. Joseph doesn't want to evict Cedric either, and of course, his pal Tucker wants Cedric out, but Tucker said Cedric's not that much of a threat or a challenge, and so Tucker has said he would prioritize his alliance with Joseph and can live with it if Cedric stays and Rubina goes. And Rubina, meanwhile, has been working house guests, trying to find out whose vote she might have to stay. Tucker has been promoting the notion that if Rubina is voted out, he will have a lot more time to focus on the game, and kind of Tucker levying that as a low-key threat, like if I'm really focused on you guys and not distracted, watch out. Meanwhile, Mackenzie doesn't really seem to be hustling like the other 2 to try and shore up votes to save herself. And just an intriguing live feed side note is a few people are trying to convince Tucker he needs to work with Quinn, trying to convince Quinn he needs to work with Tucker, and they're kind of agreeing when they're talking to people like they'd consider it, but then in private, not so much, especially Quinn, who's cam talking and saying, I will not work with Tucker no matter what anybody says. So no matter who goes home in week 4 that we're in right now, heading into week 5, unless Tucker wins head of household, Angela is probably going to be the house target. Despite the begging and her eavesdropping, she really is in no alliances. She's burned bridges all over the house with the tantrum, and being more chill now doesn't change the past. She does have this final 2 kind of vibe, definite thing with Tucker, but everybody else in the house is not looking forward to being in jury with her, and that means she has to go sooner rather than later, in fact, next. So Angela's antics did not solidify her game or any loyalties, but it was pretty funny to see HOH Angela on the floor listening like a paranoid person and then begging for a shot with them. If nothing else, she is entertaining on the live feed. So I'm very interested to see if what she did makes it onto CBS episodes either Wednesday or Thursday night. That's it. Let me know what you think about Angela slithering around in the HOH room eavesdropping. Do you want her to stay to keep the drama going, or are you hoping to see her targeted and gone next week when she can't play in the HOH comp? Let me know what you think. Come back soon for more Big Brother updates right here.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.